What's up, y'all? Join me in ranking the Shadow of Erdtree boss fights. I'll be doing it based off their appearance, their moveset, difficulty, and just bonus points for like any kind of fun or lore that I had during the fight. And I want to hear from you guys. What are your top 5 as well? So this is also going to be based off my first playthrough, and the Shadow Fragments do kind of play a part. I'll try to ignore it because some of them are way harder than others just because I was underleveled. Black Gel Knight is the first thing I came across. He kind of set the tone for the DLC. He hit like a truck. His blicky crossbow was really sick. I'll go ahead and just throw him in B tier. I'm going to put the bears at B as well. They're pretty vicious. I like their appearance, and I like that they have like some kind of dragon rune type thing going on that you can do with them. I had fun fighting them. They were pretty straightforward though, but I still had fun. I beat the Death Knights pretty fast, so I'm going to put them at C. They felt a bit spamish. I mean, so their weapons and their appearance were cool, but I just, they were kind of meh to me. They kind of felt like an enemy I could have fought out in the overworld or like just, outside the dungeon. Dryleaf is cool. I like the way that he looks. The punching and kicking is cool. I mean, most of the NPC fights consisted of me just backing up and just hitting unsheath or doing a jump attack into them before they could reach me, so there wasn't a whole lot of back and forth. But I'll put him at C tier and put him above the Death Knights because I really like the way he looked and I like the weapons. I'm going to put Red Bear at B tier above the Black Gel Knight. Red Bear, I like the appearance. I like the whole bear claw thing. Super aggressive, super fast. More fun than Gel Knight, but I mean, I feel like they're still in the same playing field. Black Knight Erdtree, I'm going to stick him in Recycle because this is an enemy that you can run into in the field, and I'm not a big fan of recycled enemies, but they made him a boss fight. I didn't notice any differences, so I think Recycled is okay. I'm going to put Ancient Dragon Man behind Dryleaf Dane. His appearance is sick, but the fight itself was kind of meh. It was an NPC fight. His moveset wasn't as good as Dryleaf Dane's, in my opinion. All right, so I'm going to put the Drakes behind Black Knight Erdtree. This is the solo one you fight when you first enter the dragon area, and then you walk into a fight where one is fighting another clone, and it's like you basically fight 3 of these guys back to back in a sense. And you fight these guys throughout the main game. Recycle, they have like one new move. They're just annoying, and they take longer to take down than the Black Knight Erdtree, which is why they're behind them. Cinesax, I'm going to put him behind the Drakes in the recycle bin. He's in the main game. I don't want to fight him again. There's water everywhere to make the fight more annoying. I got through him pretty fast though, and he does look cool when he's holding the lightning, but he's still an annoying fight for me, and his coolness is not enough to cover that up. I'm going to move Demi-Human Swordsman Onzi to C. He kind of reminded me of Yoda, which I think is what they were going for with his sword. His moveset was pretty badass. I was so surprised the first time I fought him. But once you get a hit on him, he starts, and you just kind of keep hitting and staggering him, and then he falls over. I'm going to put Bale at A tier. There are a lot of things I like about him. I like his appearance. I like that there's lore between him and Plasudasax that's, play a factor in his appearance. Egon, I like that Egon's got beef with him. I like that you can summon Egon during the fight. Egon's voice acting during the fight was really good. I like that even though Bale's a dragon, he doesn't have a lot of traditional dragon stuff. I mean, he has dragon moves like the fire breath, but it's unique to him. The way you handle his fire breath and his bombing runs and all that stuff is different. I really like this moveset. Going into phase 2 was awesome. The sound effects for some of his attacks were awesome. Overall, I think he was a really cool boss. He was tough, but I think he was a really cool and for the most part well done boss. Having to aim for the head only was kind of slightly annoying, but still overall I think he was a great boss. I think he's a great bar to set for A tier. All right, I'm going to put Cursebane Labyrinth in Recycled because he's an enemy that pops up in the overworld. It's that they made it a boss fight. The darkness aspect of it was kind of cool. I kind of wish they would have did more with it, but he felt a little bit more original than the ones behind him. So Chief Bloodfiend, I'm going to put him in front of the dragons because he's quicker to take down. It is his arena is a little annoying because he's just a super aggressive. So like you're backing up and you're hitting walls and his arena is annoying, but he's basically a field enemy that was made into a boss. But because you can kill him way faster than these 3, he goes above them. All right, Rakshasa, I'm going to put him above the Death Knights because there's only one of him. I like his look, his unique weapon. The fight was straightforward, though. I'm just unsheathing them down or I'm jumping attacking them as they approach me, and they go down pretty quick. So the fight is boring, but I like his appearance, I like his moveset, and there's only one of them. Deathrite Bird was annoying, but I'll put it above the dragons because he was quicker to take down than the dragons. I don't think there's anything new about him. There's literally just a copy-paste, probably for lore purposes, but still. I'm going to put him down here. Lamenter, I'm going to put him low B. I like that they experimented with new boss fight mechanics, and it was cool to kind of fight him trial and error and figure out, okay, I'm supposed to do this or I'm supposed to do that, and then finally figure it out. His appearance isn't that cool. His moveset is pretty bare bones, honestly, but still, it's just a fight. It was the fact that they made up new mechanics, so this is a special low tier B for me. All right, I'm going to put Putrescent Knight behind Bale here. I love the appearance. I love the moveset. It was a good variety. The throwing of the weapon, the hula hoop moves where he's like dashing towards you while spinning and the horse is coming at you from the side. I think that was an interesting mechanic, having like the boss split in two in attack. I don't think we've seen too much of that in the franchise. I can't really recall anything in this moment, but I think the fight, the environment, the music, I think it was a really solid fight. I'm going to stick him in A. Put Dancer Renan C tier. Their appearance was cool. Their moveset was okay. They're kind of just a lot of spinning and dancing. Nothing too special. I just, again, NPC enemies just run into my jump attacks or my unsheaths. Not a lot of gameplay there. I'm going to put Golden Hippo. I'm going to put Golden Hippo low C tier. The second phase is interesting with the porcupine spikes and the rolling around, but phase one is literally just, you know, he just literally just mouth charge, maybe head slam on the ground. I think low C is okay. I'm going to put Gase at high B. It just felt way more rewarding to beat him than everyone else below him. His charge feels broken. I don't know if they're going to fix it or if that's intended, but that was like my really only hang up with the fight. His moveset was pretty straightforward. He had a couple projectiles, some stabs. His phase 2 was okay. It kind of felt more or less the same as phase 1 with like a few extra moves. I think the charge was my big headache. His appearance is cool. I feel like it's a nod to Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I feel like it was really just the charge and the rest of the fight was okay. So I'm going to leave him at B. All right, Dancing Lion, I'm going to put it A. I like the appearance of the boss fight. The music was good. The arena was kind of straightforward. What I liked the most about the fight, though, was that you were cycling through seasons. You know, you went from lightning to winter to wind. And of course, it goes into lightning once you drop it below a certain point, but then once you drop it below again, it starts to just cycle through all the phases at its own will, and I thought that was a really cool idea. You've never really seen bosses cycle in and out of phases like that before, so I thought that was really cool. Mesmer is a weird one for me. I'm going to put him at low A. I felt like he was going to be way more imposing based off the trailer, and he was kind of like this tall, slinky dude. And I mean, he dashed around and moved a bit, but his moveset wasn't as diverse as the other characters, in my opinion. And he just didn't have a lot of HP. I beat him in like 20 minutes. His second phase was cool, but the snake attacks were very telegraphed. And his second phase felt easier than his first phase. And I don't know. I expected more from him because he was kind of like the flagship of the DLC. He was okay. I still think he deserves to be A. I'm going to put Erdtree Avatar at B. I love the appearance and idea of the boss fight representing the shadow of the Erdtree and all of that. I really like that aspect of it. The arena was really nice, but his moveset was kind of so-so. It was just stab the ground, make the vines come up, or do kind of swings or whatever. He did have the really cool light attack going into phases 2 and 3, but it was very straightforward. The 4 times damage on his head might have been too much. Maybe make it 2 times the damage. And maybe the fight would have lasted a bit longer. But he did have 3 phases, though. But he didn't change that much between the phases, and I don't even understand why that was a thing. But I still thought he was more fun than the bears and everyone else below him. Tree Sentinels, I'm going to put them in the middle of the recycle tier. They're at the top of the boss side of things because I enjoy fighting them. I love their moveset. I love their appearance. I love the music that goes with the fight. And I think that Mesmer had them go to that area to protect the Shaman village, which is really nice of him, if that's the case. But I still put them below these other guys simply because it takes longer to cut through them than it does these guys. So hopefully that makes sense. I think out of all the recycled bosses, they're the most fun to fight. I forgot about this Black Knight here. I'm just going to stick him next to this guy. This Black Knight Geru, I'm going to stick him right next to this other one. Is more or less the same concept from what I said earlier. I'm going to put Falling Star at the bottom of Recycled. You fight him like 5 or 6 times in the main game. I did Dexterity the first time I fought him. Even on my Intelligence build when I used the Dark Moon Sword, he was still kind of annoying. I am sick of this boss. He's going to the bottom of the bin. I'm going to put Mater B tier above the bears. I think the appearance is super freaky and I like that. I love the arena that you fight him in. Music is kind of meh. Their moveset is okay. You would think there'd be more finger-oriented stuff. I mean, yeah, there's the sideways movement and the stamping of the finger, but it was mostly projectiles and simply flailing of the arms and like the blade bait. I wanted to see more out of phase 2. Still thought the fight was cool though, for sure. Definitely, I think B tier right here below the Erdtree and above the bears is a good spot. I'm gonna put Count Ymir low C tier. When I fought him, I was doing a bleed build, and I pressured him heavy. I just kept running up and hitting him, and he does magic, so he couldn't really create the space he needed to get the fight going. And I was done with him in seconds. His appearance looked cool though with the whole finger shirt or whatever, but I didn't really get to see much of the fight. But that's still better than all these recycled dudes. Demi-human behind tree sentinels. I didn't really care for the fight. It was just a bunch of small enemies around a boss that does projectiles. Blew through the fight. I know this was in the main game, but still, I'm going to put them above the Death Right Bird and everything below it because it's just quicker to kill. I'm going to put Jory behind Count Ymir. He felt very similar to another enemy type, but I think that he's like a slightly modified version. He could summon other enemies and he was spam projectiles or whatever. I didn't really like the fight. It was kind of boring. So, but I don't think he was recycled, so I'm going to stick him here. I know some of you guys are not going to like this, but I'm going to put Midra S tier. For me, it was the first time I seen the Frenzied Head because I never played the Frenzied ending. So when I saw that, I thought it was sick. The sound design, as you got to see the intro for the boss, was sick. The moveset is very diverse. He's shooting madness out all over the place. He's swinging his sword, trails of flame. His little Beyblade type movement as he's spinning because he doesn't have an actual head was really cool. The bomb going into phase 2 was cool. The arena was cool, like the library, and then the library is on fire. The music was, whoa. Ah, man. The only downside to this fight was that you have to beat up the smaller version of him to trigger the actual fight, and that he didn't have a ton of health, so that you probably at most fought him for 30 minutes, if you invested in HP at all. But I really, really enjoyed this fight. It was really cool to fight him. His death command grab was so good. He had a, man, it was a phenomenal fight in my opinion. So he's going in S tier for me. I'll die on that hill. All right, I'm going to put Romania above Mater. I feel like in terms of appearance, they're both really freaky, out of this world, and I think their design is good. I feel like they leaned into Romania's moveset a little bit more in terms of her appearance than they did with Mater. And real quick with Mater, like, there's just not a lot of finger attacks or finger things happening, which you think there would be. But with Romania, they're really leaning into the centipede at the front and the stinger at the back. And her and both of those things are attacking you at the same time. And there's a lot of moves that lean into that appearance in her body. Then you have the going up in the sky, coming down with the stinger strike, which is really freaky cool. You get grabbed by it, the stinger, and then she'll wrap it around and poke you really aggressively, which is cool. Her second phase is kind of lackluster, just like Mater, but the second phase, you have the butterflies that do all the damage if you're too close and whatnot. And it just kind of felt like it felt like the boss's look and like theme and appearance played into their moveset more than it did for Mater. And that's why Romania is higher than Mater. I'm going to put Radon a low A tier above Mesmer. Phase 1, I felt like was pretty good. I will say that it's very easy to pick up and learn because a lot of his moves are slow swinging, very telegraphed moves. I was getting to phase 2 probably within like the first hour to 30 minutes of fighting him. Phase 2 was terrible. If I go back and fight him again, it won't be as bad, but I still think it wasn't very well designed. Even though I can dodge his regular attacks, it still feels like it's a gamble on whether or not I can dodge his light attacks where he's using clones and stuff like that. That feels like it's a 50-50. It feels unfair. And his phase 2 is what drags him down on the list. He's got a cool phase 1, maybe a little bit too easy. His music is cool. The setting in which you fight him is cool. The lore behind why you're fighting him is cool. Very interesting. All that is great, but phase 2 drags him down a little bit. I mean, he'd probably be, if his phase 2 didn't have the clones and stuff and they had something different, I'd probably have him up there with Bale, if not in front of Bale. But I think he's in a good spot. All right, so we ended up getting 3 Ghost Dragons. Technically, no, they're just recycled. We got 3 Ghost Dragons. I feel like they're just a copy pasta of the Drake Dragon Peak. All right, so we got 3 Ghost Flame Dragons, basically all copy pasta, and they're very, all right, Ghost Flame Dragon, I'll put them above the other ones because these guys are DLC at least, and the idea of reviving the dead enemies is cool, but then you have to deal with those dead enemies, which is annoying, and their moveset is basically a copy pasta of the Jagged Peak Drakes, minus like the flames coming out of their feet when they stomp. It was cool, it was kind of cool, but then adding 2 more of them made it not cool, basically. All right, I'm going to slide Renala into S tier here. I love her knight appearance with her magic drip on the side and the twin swords, really cool. I feel like knights are some of the best looking boss models in the game, and she's no exception. The fight itself is fantastic. Her animations are so fluid and well done. I think I can say that these are some of the best or the best I've seen across the franchise. The fight itself is cool. I feel like this is as close to fighting a player you will get when it comes to like PvE. Her ability to read you when you go for a flask is incredible. the massive toolkit of moves, you know, shooting out the moonlight slashes, using the swords to cover her approach, using the carrying great sword to do the big slash, followed by a surprise sweep that probably catches you off guard the first time she does it. Going into her second phase, she adds like the slashes. She does the pyro fire, like the spin fire that sets everything on fire, is really cool. Her strings are a little bit more deadly. The moon drop was sick. The first time she went into the moon drop, you're like, what is this? And then you just get nuked out of the fight. I think she was awesome. And she felt balanced too. She was difficult. I think I died the most to her and Radon. But she felt fair though. I was making mistakes, but she felt like a fair fight. And she was tough. She was tanky, she was tough, she did damage. It was a long fight, but it felt super rewarding to get through her. So I feel like she's pretty good at S tier. I don't really have anything else to say other than it was a phenomenal fight. I wish I could go back and just reactivate the fight whenever I wanted to. So that's going to do for my list. We have Midra, Renala, Bale, Divine Beast, and Putrescent at the top 5. And then here's the rest of my list. Hit that comment button and let me know what you think of the list, what you swap around, what your list would look like, all that good stuff. Sub if you want to see more stuff or more content like this from me. And I appreciate you watching the video. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace.